Hello, this is Matthew from Love Buddy. We're having another broadcast here every day, the same time, this time, whatever this time is right now in your local time zone. It's 10 p.m. on Sunday night in New York City, and it's 10 a.m. on Monday morning in China and in the Philippines, which is where I'm at right now. So I hope you're having a wonderful day or had a wonderful day. According to where you're at. And today we're talking about romance and love. Love and romance. And love and romance is a little bit of a misleading term because we're not talking about love as it's generally defined. It's love as is defined by Love Buddy. And if you look at the qualities on the Love Buddy website, if you look at the qualities in the free ebook, if you look at the comments that go with this video, there's a free ebook you can see, and the love is defined as 68 different qualities so far. These are qualities like compassion and consideration and respect and nurturing. Has to do with integrity too. So we're going to get into that a little bit today when it comes to love and romance. And I guess what I want to say, full disclosure here, because love is about being honest and being open. I have been responsible for some incredibly bad decisions that I've made, some decisions that were not so good for both me and for my partner, the girl that I picked as a girlfriend. And I started probably having what I called girlfriends when I was about 6 or 7 years old. I remember this little girl, Barbara, when I was living in the north side of Chicago. And considering her to be my girlfriend, and I pretty much was always kind of obsessed and always had this romantic idea in my mind about a soulmate and love. And then after several failures, I decided, well, maybe I'll never meet the right person. And it was kind of a mystery to me how that worked. And I always felt like it was my fault. And a lot of times, well, every time, I was responsible. We're responsible. So here's what happens. When we know what love is, when we know how to love ourselves and love other people, we're automatically going to put ourselves in a position where we're working with people and interacting with people, whether it's friendships, people at work, jobs, our hobbies, the way we make a living, our families, everything's going to be based upon a good, solid, strong foundation of love. And if we don't understand what real love is, but we learn about that from a romance novel or from a movie or from our religion or some other place that may not have a very clear idea about what real love is, then we're going to pick the wrong partners. And it's going to reflect how successful or unsuccessful our love relationships are going to be. And that's what happened to me exactly, because basically, always been a religious guy, always involved in religion very seriously. Got involved in a lot of different types of religions and cults until I was 25 years old, and the light went on. And I realized it had nothing to do with God, had nothing to do with right living, had nothing to do with any kind of a template or strategy or structure about how to live a happy, joyful life. It was every religion that I was part of, every cult that I was part of, had to do with dogma. It had to do with their structure and their survival and their money and their power and their proselytizing in whatever form it was, so that they could build their group bigger, and so that they could be strong as a group, as a religion, as a cult, as a tribe. But it wasn't about empowering the individuals, because once you empower an individual, they start to think for themselves, and they're probably going to leave unless you allow all kinds of independence. You don't have a really strong dogma that they have to follow this or you're out kind of a situation. So many of the religions and the cults and things that I got involved in were absolutely no help at all for me learning about what love was. And when I did study things like John Gray did a great book, Men Are From Mars, Women Are From Venus, something like that title, it was groundbreaking for a lot of people and for relationships. If people realize that men and women have different needs, different approaches to life. I heard from one evangelical Christian some tapes my sister sent me, and they were really, really great tapes. The guy was really, really great, even though some of the things he shared I don't think were very very helpful for my life. But some things he shared were really great, and that's kind of true about everything, isn't it? One of the things he said was different people need love in different ways. And he had a little boy, and the little boy just liked to take a lot of time, just liked to take his dad time, and they would ride their bicycles around the neighborhood slowly. And you could tell by the way he described it was tedious for him. But he wanted to show his son love. And his daughter, very different. She wanted adventure, so he'd buy her a ticket to go on some holiday to visit another country. So different people need love in different ways, and we define love in different ways. It's the same foundational love, but it's different kinds of expression. And so when we talk about unconditional love, love itself is unconditional, but we as humans are very conditional about love. We understand it differently, we practice it differently, we share it differently, and it's different from person to person. How does that apply to romance? Well, when it comes to relationships, if we don't understand love ourselves in romance, we're going to be attracted to somebody that may not be a good partner for us. I could say that I got my PhD in picking the wrong partners for myself. I had a relationship with a girl in Los Angeles named Stacy. It was a 3-year relationship, and it was basically, would have been more productive for me to bang my head against the wall. And another girl, her name was Yvette, she was in San Diego, another 3-year relationship that I'm sure she wasn't happy about. And I certainly wasn't happy about it, but I didn't know what to do because I had a hole inside of me. I had this dream inside of me. And I was kind of a love, or you could say a romance addict, to where I needed to have somebody in my life. And I had this dream about how a romance could be. And the people that I picked, I mean, this girl Yvette, the moment I saw her, I fell in love. That was love at first sight. That relationship was love at first sight, whatever you call that. Maybe it was, I don't know, it wasn't really lust because it wasn't about sex. It was just about something about the way she looked. And maybe we could call that destiny. Maybe we could call that my next lesson in life. And wow, what a lesson it was. I remember one of the key things that happened that was such a huge breakthrough to me that helped me to see what an addict I was. And I knew I was an addict because the relationship wasn't fulfilling any of my key needs at all. And I always felt beat up by the relationship. I always felt unloved. Can't blame her. She had her own challenges, and she had her own challenges related to me and the way I was perhaps behaving with her. I'm sure I was too needy. I'm sure I was too, would pressure her too much about her behavior and things like that. And she ended up having affairs, as Stacy did, with other guys and lying to me about it. I had a lot of relationships with women who cheated on me and lied to me because that's the kind of person I was picking. And when these types of things occurred, I had the dream that we could talk it through. But if you're talking it through with somebody who has absolutely no intention of being honest, of being open, of sharing the truth, of sticking with you, of seeing value in you, I could tell right away in the conversation they didn't see any value in me. But I was so compulsive and I was so needy that I wasn't in touch with loving myself at all. So it made me really horrible at loving that person, sharing love with that person, and of picking the right person in the right situation in the first place. And so what happened was like I mentioned, it was like a PhD in how to pick the wrong person, how to not love myself, but to be addicted. So there was kind of an addiction there to where I had this dream, like people have a dream about a substance. This is going to make me happy. This is what's going to solve my problems. This is what I need. I got to have it. I need. And once they get it, it's nowhere near as good as you thought. Like a heroin trip, heroin addict, it's hell every time, right? Maybe ecstasy for a few moments, and then it's hell. And it destroys your life. And I destroyed a lot of my work life by being obsessed about relationships. And so I made a lot of wrong decisions. Now, one of my friends, a relatively long-time friend on Facebook, was sharing some of her experiences with the relationship yesterday. And I said, look, I'm going to share this. Is that okay? Because I want to talk about it. And love, real love, when we understand what real love is, it has a tendency to just knock all this stuff out of your life completely, 100%. So that all this confusion about romance, all these challenges, all these mysteries, all these difficult problems that just feel like people say love rips their heart out. It's not love at all that's ripping your heart out. It's the addiction. It's the confusion. It's the lack of understanding about what real love is and what self-abuse is, what masochism is, what confusion can be around what love really is. So I'm going to read some of her comments here. Which mate would you pick? A person who's attractive, super smart, and fit with a credit score of 580, or someone with an average appearance and intelligence with a credit score of 850? Average looks and appearance and intelligence with a high credit score versus someone who's attractive, smart, and fit, physically fit, but a low credit score. My answer to this question is much different now than it was 20 years ago. Does this tell us everything we need to know about a person? Heck no. It does tell us something, though. Well, it tells her something. But we all have different criteria, right? I knew of one relationship that the woman was wanting to see my friend's financial statement before getting married or before committing to a relationship. I thought it was ridiculous. He thought it was ridiculous. He followed through with it. But I haven't heard a lot of that. But this person who made this comment that I just read, she's an accountant. She's like a money person, and that means a lot to her. She made another comment here. How many people run a potential mate's credit report? I bet not many. No, I think it's considered not necessarily appropriate when it comes to a romantic relationship. Most of the time, most people wouldn't think of that. And they would think, well, that's kind of weird. Why is the money so important? Why is the credit so important? But I can see where she's coming from. And I go on to read here, but how a person handles money is often how they handle everything. Well, full disclosure again, mea culpa, I'm guilty of really being very irresponsible, not only about the relationships that I've had in my life, but also about my money, about managing money, about being stable financially, about fulfilling my obligations financially. So in that case, yeah, I didn't know how to love myself. I didn't know how to live. I had this dream, I had this goal. I want to be a good person, I want to do the right thing, and then I would do stupid things, and I would make stupid decisions. And I didn't really know how to love myself and really how to take care of my life and to treasure my life, value my health, value everything about my world. I can say this after being an accountant for 47 years. There's a direct correlation between money and responsibility, she says. And I think there's a lot to that. And I think that it kind of depends on what you're responsible to. Now, some people really, one of the things when I was in school, I didn't do homework very much at all. And when I got older, I showed up at school less and less. And I found that school was more a place of indoctrination, but not a place of education. And at 58 years old now, I'm much, much more certain about that thought than I was. But as a kid, I saw, waiting in line for this and waiting in line to do that, and then memorizing this information so that we could spew that information out at a later date. So I could say, yeah, I was a really irresponsible student on purpose, by decision. I've traveled more of the United States than pretty much most people that I've ever met. Although a lot of people have traveled more, I just haven't met them. But I traveled a lot, that's my point. And I've been to 50 countries in the world. And I've been involved in a lot of religions. And you could say that when I quit one cult or another cult, those people saw me as irresponsible. But I think it was the most responsible thing I could do because it was based upon personal integrity. When I traveled and my parents or my family would say, when are you going to come home? Like, what home? My home was in my heart. My home was where I was. And I didn't equate buying a house or living in one place with anything of that I valued traveling the world and understanding different cultures, seeing different places and getting that deeper, richer understanding of how people live, how people behave, the food they eat, the different things about their particular ethnicity. I value that greatly, and I'm really glad that I did. Because when I go back and visit some of these places where people never move and people never leave, their opinion of the world can be extremely limited because they've never been there. And so they don't really get a chance to hear the other side. That was my goal. I want to see the other side. So was I irresponsible by traveling? Could you be irresponsible by staying in one place? Okay, so this definition of responsibility could have specific applications when it comes to either money, and I totally know that I would say it wasn't wrong for me to travel, but I would say it's definitely wrong for me to be irresponsible financially. And the financial mistakes that I've made, I wouldn't say, okay, that was a good decision. No, it wasn't. And I wasn't being very responsible financially. So that's for sure in that situation. I agree with her. But when it comes to other areas of life, we get judged by people who go to all the classes and get A's on all the tests and follow, cross every T and dot every I in life. And they live a very conservative life. And these are people that reach a certain point in life and they realize that they haven't really been aware of what they love. They haven't really been aware of what they believe. They haven't really been exposed to different lifestyles and they've missed out. Can be a lot of the time. I'm not saying don't conform, but I'm saying that a lot of people that do conform so much, they throw away their individuality and then they follow all the rules. And where does it get them? I don't think it ever gets someone anywhere in life to follow all the rules unless that works for you as an individual. If you love the idea of this, crossing all your T's, dotting your I's, getting an A on all the tests, fantastic, nothing wrong with that. But if you're doing that as a way to conform or you don't have an original idea, you don't have original thought, it's going to get you in trouble. Okay, moving closer to the topic at hand here, love and romance. True self-love, genuine love, as we defined it, compared to living a romantic life, finding a romantic partner, could be anybody. I mean, now the doors are really opening about, what is this, LGBTQ, there's so many different ways that people define their sexuality. And I'm not limiting this to heterosexual relationships. It's just the ones that I know best and that are the most common, so I'm talking about those. But this, of course, would apply to any relationship you could have, including platonic relationships, including non-sexual partners or non-love relationships from a romantic standpoint, but family, kids, parents, friends at work, friends from school, relationship's a relationship, and you can decide, I like this guy for bowling. We're good bowling partners, and we like to have a few beers and talk about politics while we bowl. This person I'm physically attracted to, and we have sex as part of our relationship, and we have romance, and we love to make dinners together. So your expression of your relationships and how you want to connect with people is 100% completely up to you, as long as you're not hurting anybody. And that could be any kind of a relationship with anybody. Okay, so let's go on here. She said, okay, the direct correlation between money and responsibility. She's kind of complaining. And then I came back with, well, pick someone you love. And she said, and then I said, I get you. Please tell me, what did she say? I guess I missed a comment here. I didn't copy it, about that not working out for her. She tried to do that, but it didn't work out, finding somebody that she loved. And that rang a bell in my mind right away. A light went on, is that what was the criteria that she was using to select the person that she loved? What did I do for so many years about picking the person that I loved? What was my definition for love? What did I use for love? Okay, now let's get to the meat of the topic, 20 minutes in here. If you love yourself, if you understand how to love yourself, you're automatically going to know how to love others. If you're waiting for somebody to show up for a date during the dating cycle of a love relationship, a romance relationship. They don't call, they don't show up, they're late. They don't take responsibility for that, they're not accountable for that. And if that really bothers you, some people are really flexible about time, they don't care, but does that bother you? Does that mean something to you? It means something to me. I like people to be on time, I like to be on time. That's my particular personal desire. That's something that I value in a relationship, is someone keeping their commitments. And if something happens and they can't, they make a phone call, they send a message, they let us know, okay, I'm going to be blah, blah, blah this time, that time. So this can be an example of, are you being honored and respected? Because these are qualities of love. If you're not being honored and respected, then you might make the mistake that I made that says, my personal feeling, what my heart is telling me, that I'm not getting the love that I want, I'm not getting the respect, I'm not getting the consideration, I'm not getting the kindness that I want from this person. Hey, Bill, thanks so much for joining. Bill's an old friend, not an old guy. He's young at heart, but we've known each other for 30 years probably. Anyway, get back to the comment here. Great to see you, Bill. I love you, man. You're a great guy. Bill's a great friend, really interesting guy. Yeah, he and his wife, Lynn. Anyway, about this love relationship thing, making so many mistakes. Bill was there when I had met a girl, and we went to Vegas together where he was living. And I remember thinking, wow, maybe this is the girl right for me. And I remember his wife saying something like, a very loving person. And, we have a lot of love and respect for each other in our lives. And she said something like, are you sure? Or, really? And she tried to give me feedback without hurting my feelings and that relationship lasted about 48 hours, and she could tell that. Other people on the outside could see that. But when we're compulsively involved in a relationship and we're throwing away our own self-respect, our own self-nurturing, our compassion for ourselves, when we're throwing that out the window for this ideal of a romantic partner that we saw in a movie, or we dreamed up in our heads, or we read in a book, or we heard about, or we thought we saw in somebody else, it is an addiction. It's the same as an addiction. And I can guarantee you that when you look around, most people, by far, especially in American culture, have some kind of a love addiction to where they're basing their relationship upon ideals and throwing out the true qualities of love. So getting back to some of the true qualities of love, how they would affect a romance relationship, how they would affect any addiction at all. And that is, how is what I'm doing? Being conscious, being aware, being present. These are qualities of love. Are we aware of how what I eat, what drug I take, the person that I pick, what kind of an effect does that have on me? Is it empowering me? And this is power in a healthy way. This isn't about tyranny. This is about feeling strong in life. This is about feeling enthusiastic. This is about feeling great about yourself and your world and what you're doing. Yeah, I can do that. I can get that done. That's being empowered. That's feeling empowerment. Does this relationship empower me? Is this person empowering me? Are they making me feel stronger? Am I making them feel stronger? Are we working together to say, wow, look at what we're doing together. Look at how I feel when I'm around her. Or look at how she feels when she's around me, and vice versa. This empowerment feeling is really vital, and it's this really strong indicator of whether or not this substance or this person or this venture is a good thing for my life or not. We've got to feel empowered. When you're into self-nurturing, you're going to pay attention. If it's important for you to have that person show up on time, if they don't show up on time, they might be a wonderful person. They might have a great credit score. They might be really handsome or really beautiful or sexy. The sex might be fantastic. I've had wonderful physical relationships with people where the spiritual relationship, where they weren't my soulmate at all. There was very little cooperation and kinship and empowerment and nurturing going on outside of the bedroom. So looking at this one aspect, looking at just one aspect of the relationship, whether it's a credit score, whether it's their physical appearance, their fitness, their diligence, when it comes to working out, the amount of money they've got in the bank, all of these things by themselves can seem like a really good asset. And it can be a really beneficial asset. You want somebody who's healthy. You want somebody who's financially stable. You want somebody who you're attracted to. When you look at them, you like the way they look. Yeah, that's really important in a relationship, but it's not on its own by itself going to make or break a relationship. What's going to make or break a relationship on its own? Qualities of love. And some of the key qualities of love are, do I feel empowered? Do I feel nurtured? Do I feel compassion? Do I respect this person? Does this person respect me? And if you have integrity with yourself, if you have integrity in your relationship, if you have love in your relationship, real love in your relationship, you're going to feel those things, and you're going to have a kind of a partnership. You're going to have a kind of a teamwork, and you're going to have a kind of a trust where you're working together. If you're always wondering, where is our relationship going? We've been engaged for 16 years. When are we going to actually get married? If you have these kind of questions, why does the person get irritated when I ask them what they did last night? Why does the person never hug me if physical affection is important? Relationship that I'm in right now, she's just so fantastic. And I know the reason for this is because this relationship, for the first time in my life, I focused on love. I knew what love was. I knew, and I tested the relationship. I said, wait, am I feeling this in the relationship? Am I feeling respect? Am I feeling kindness? Am I feeling compassion? Am I feeling a certain sense of nurturing? Am I feeling the teamwork that comes from these things? Or am I feeling like, wait, there's something wrong? And for so many years in my life, I knew there's something wrong. And I was struggling with it, but I didn't know how to love myself. I didn't know what love was, so I had no reference point. Am I being an idiot? This guy that had to give, this good friend of mine, who had to give his financial statement to this girl that they were considering getting married. She ended up marrying another guy, by the way. He didn't know for sure what love was, and he would call me crying for hours on the phone, for days and weeks on end, in an absolutely emotional mess, which I've been in before about love relationships. I've woken up sobbing from feeling my heart was being torn out when I was the one tearing it out. I didn't know what love was. I knew it was a matter of integrity. I knew it was a matter of self-respect. And the breakthrough that I had with this one girl was not driving to her house. I was going down the freeway and I wanted to go by. I had this impulse, this compulsion to go by and see if her car was there. Even though we're kind of broken up at the time, things were on the rocks and there was nothing to talk about, and we were kind of, not communicating at the time. I just wanted to see if she was there because I had this compulsion, and I made the decision to just go straight. And I felt like handcuffs or 1,000 tons had been lifted off my shoulders. I felt so free. I felt so liberated. I felt so empowered. Because I finally had the understanding, wait a second, this isn't nurturing me. And another huge breakthrough that I had that put the frosting on the cake about me and relationships was realizing that all the love I felt in my heart, all of that was in my heart. In other words, it wasn't about that other person. It wasn't coming from that other person. It wasn't coming from a successful relationship or a healthy relationship. All of that strong emotion that I had, I owned it. It was mine. I finally realized. It's a little bit of a tough concept. I've shared this before with people, friends of mine, who are going through hell in relationships. And of all the different hells that I've been through in my life, that's one of the toughest ones, until my father died. When my father died, then I knew what grief was. I thought I knew it from relationships, but that was just crazy romantic games. That was, what was it? Kind of a self-indulgence compared to losing my father. I had no idea until it happened. But anyway, to make this decision, to nurture myself and just keep driving. Don't fall for that addiction. That was a little sign of integrity. But if you don't really know how to eat healthy food, you don't know what healthy food is, you don't know how to satiate yourself with good healthy food, then every time you hold yourself back from that cheeseburger or from that piece of chocolate cake, yeah, the discipline is a good thing, but if you don't know the right nutrition that's going to make those cravings go away and be replaced with real nurturing, with real love, with something that really feeds your soul, if you don't know what that is, then it's only a matter of time before you're going to go back to the same old habits, the same old mistakes, the same old weaknesses. And then, like me, what I did was the same old, lousy, terrible relationships for both myself and for my partner. Because we need to know what true love is. And when we understand what true love is, get this ebook, read this ebook. Tell me if you think it's worth a penny or not. When you see the information in there, this is what I'm sharing because it absolutely changed my life in every possible area of my life from night to day, black to white. Absolutely. Because when you know what love is, then you have the opportunity. You know what nurturing is. And you know what nurturing is not. And when you feel this experience from somebody else, that, wow, maybe that's great, maybe they're a wonderful person, we're not going to judge other people. We don't have to judge other people. We don't have to do that. We don't have to say, well, she was really bad. She was a bad person. And I've been through that. I've felt that before, and I thought it was about that. And it wasn't. It was about my choice. And I always knew in my heart it was about my choice. If they're so bad, why did I pick them? Why did I stay with this gal for 3 years and go through all that garbage for us to end up nowhere at the end, as far as nowhere meaning building a relationship? Well, it was a great experience, like my experience in religions and cults, like my experience with a lot of self-help things that were partially helpful, some of them not helpful at all. Great experience, great learning. And if I had a chance to do it again, I would, because of the experience I got from it. But it was a really tough situation to go through. Now, when you know what love is, you can put your focus, put your energy, put your time, and put your resources into nurturing yourself, nurturing others, nurturing a partner that loves you back in the way that you need the love, the way that you can feel the love in your life. That's what it's about. And when you know what love is, the addictions go away, the weaknesses goes away, the integrity goes up. Your ability to say no to the things you don't want is 1,000 times easier because it's so clear to you, wow, that wasn't a good thing at all. That wasn't right at all. And I know exactly why. And I know exactly what to do next time. And the fog clears, the lights go on, and you're able to have a relationship like the one I've always dreamed about, the one that I have now, with someone that I really, truly love and respect, and truly loves and respects me. And we're a team, and we work together, and we communicate. And the things that we do together are considering the other person. And it's a partnership, and it's the kind of teamwork that I've never gotten anywhere near close to in my life. And when I did, I rejected it. I had a few times where I met wonderful women, and we had a relationship, but I didn't understand love the way they did. So I rejected the relationship. And like my heart's been broken, I broke some hearts, but they moved on, and I moved on. And we learned from it. Conclusion: how can you have a healthy relationship? You can't unless you understand what real love is. Don't get your idea of love from a movie or from a romance novel or from some friend at work who says all men are pigs, or the guy at work that says You can't respect women or they'll take advantage of you. You got to treat them like garbage and they'll come back every time. This is the kind of crap that is out there that you hear every day. And that's not what love is, and that's not what a relationship is. That's not what works. What works in life is real love. How do you find that? Okay, don't listen to me. I'm no expert. I just have some ideas. And what I would recommend you trying, communicate with your heart, nurture yourself, love yourself, have compassion for yourself, have understanding for yourself and for others. And once you have that, once you know this is going to nurture me, this is not, once you're able to see that difference, this empowers me, this doesn't empower me. Not only will other areas of your life change dramatically and things just drop away, garbage drops away, but your romance in your life, your romantic relationships, the value, the quality, the value in your life is going to skyrocket automatically, because finally now you know. Now I know. Now I know how to nurture myself. I don't have to go after the heroin of a relationship, out of the self-abuse of a relationship. I don't have to go after the worst possible choice because of some superficial thing that's irrelevant to really nurturing, to really being a team, to really trusting, to really working together, to really feeling safe and building a future together, or just having lives together now. We don't never know what the future is going to bring, but how does it feel right now, today? Because the future can also be kind of an addiction, a dream. And we're all, oh, as soon as this happens, we'll get through this phase. And then, well, 99% of the time, that's not valid because it never happens. Really good friend of mine in Thailand, he's an American, and he keeps getting involved with women hoping they're going to come through for him. He knows better, but he's going through a learning process. And I think with this most recent relationship, as I learned today, he said, okay, I'm learning. And I think he's learning that it's not about what they say. It's about how the relationship feels right now on a day-to-day basis. It's not about the empty promises. It's not about their apologies after they betray you one more time. When we love ourselves, we know how to love ourselves, we have that integrity, and we're able to make decisions. And once we get this sign that this isn't the right thing for me, we're able to stop. We don't always know it. Sometimes it takes a little time to find out, is this right for me or not? But once we know, once we get that sign, we realize, to the degree that I nurture myself, to the degree that I love myself, to the degree that I'm able to love, I'm going to pick the right partner. And there are other people in this world. There's not just this one. I can go on and on. I'm sorry for going so long here. We're almost 40 minutes, should have been 30. So anyway, that's the deal. That's my opinion. That's my LoveCast for today about love and romance. I hope it's been an interesting, if not beneficial, little LoveCast for you. Welcome any comments, welcome any feedback. Free ebook in the comments here. Please take advantage of that, download that. I think it's going to be on the 15th that it's no longer going to be available in its present form. And there might be a charge for it, or there might be some kind of a sign-up required. Right now there's no sign-up. So anyway, take a look at that and see if that's of any benefit to you. It's not about romance specifically. In the future, there will be a course from Love Buddy that's about romance. And we'll elaborate on some of the points that I made today quite a bit. And it'll be a several-day course. And it'll help you to transition from picking the wrong kind of person in your life to having the complete confidence and ability and skill to pick the right person to have a relationship. And if you're in the relationship with the wrong type of person for you, how to end that successfully, amicably as possible, and to move on with a clear conscience, with a positive outlook for the future, positive feelings in your heart, and with the potential and the actualization of a really fantastic relationship. It can happen. It happened to me. It's happened to a lot of people once they're in touch with love, once they know what love is, and they understand what love is not. Okay, thanks so much. This is Matthew from Love Buddy. Have a wonderful day or night or afternoon, depending upon the time in your part of the world. I'll see you tomorrow, 10 p.m. New York time. I'm here every day at the same time. That was about 40 minutes ago, and we'll talk about another topic. I don't know what it's going to be tomorrow, but I'll send out an announcement before that, and you're welcome to join. Thanks so much for being there. I love you. See you tomorrow.